The greatest warriors across time and space are gathered together to compete in the Super Fantasy Brawl.
Hello and welcome to Studio Awesome. I'm Katie.
And I'm Ryan, and today we would like to talk to you about Super Fantasy Brawl from Mythic Games.
The basic rules are for a two-player game in which both players draft 3 champions and then compete against each other in arena combat. Now, the copy of the game that we're looking at is the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition that includes a couple of expansions along with the Force of Nature expansion.
Each champion comes with a character card and 6 action cards. The character card shows the champion's health and defense, as well as any special power they gain when they level up.
All of the action cards for each of the player's champions are shuffled together into a single deck. On a player's turn, he will only be able to activate a champion if he has a card of theirs in his hand.
Players' actions are further restricted because each player has 3 colored cores to use each turn. When a card is played, its corresponding colored core is exhausted, and cards of that color cannot be used again for the rest of the turn.
Instead of playing a card, players can also exhaust a core color to take on one of the standard actions on their player board, but these actions aren't usually as powerful as just playing a card.
At the beginning of each turn, players check the challenge track and score victory points for any challenges for which they currently meet the conditions.
Players have to keep an eye on the challenge track because challenges shift every round and the points awarded change up depending on where they shift.
The other way to earn points is by defeating enemy champions. When an enemy has wounds equal to its health, it is sent back to its starting gate and reset to full health. The champion who defeated them earns a point for his team and is able to flip his card over to the leveled up side to use his special power, and he may gain better stats in the process. This level up is lost if he in turn is defeated. Players
get to keep fighting, completing challenges until somebody earns 5 points and wins the game.
There are also 4-player rules in addition to the 2-player rules, and they just add another player to each team. They do shake things up a bit. People only get to play with 2 champions per player, and there's fewer cards per player. But you are, as a team, just trying to get 7 points. It does shake things up a little bit because each time someone's turn takes place, you are checking to see if the scoring condition takes place. And the person on your team, their champions also count as your champions. So they might fulfill an objective and then you score it on your turn. So just that back and forth, it's not the same as a 2-player game. So you have to be ready, change your mindset for the 4-player game.
That is for sure. Something that I found confusing during the game was the scoring cards moving and shifting. It was hard for me to keep in mind what the goals were going to be worth depending on where they were located. So I think, and that may have just been because I just haven't seen a lot of that kind of stuff in games. So the further down the line it went, it would ramp up in points, but then it would suddenly decrease in points and then suddenly drop off, or it wasn't available to be scored anymore. And I found that component just a little confusing. But it was interesting to note that they were different depending on the timing. So that maybe was just me trying to get used to the game and how it played. Something that I really enjoyed was the art. The art in this game is so beautiful, and it's just a lot of fun, beautiful colors, just very imaginative, and the miniatures are also just begging to be painted. I need to go to the store and get some paint tomorrow.
The miniatures are pretty great, and this is a big box. And there's so much in this box that you would expect it to be a longer game, but it's supposed to only play in 30 to 40 minutes. I think our games tended to be a little longer than that, But with how large this box is, you would think it'd be longer. So most games, I felt like it just took forever to get those first few points, and then next thing I know, the game was over. So I kind of want it to be a little bit longer. But I did definitely enjoy playing.
I actually enjoyed how fast it played. For this type of game, you end up sometimes feeling like you're in the middle of a slog, just trying to like punch it out. And sometimes it can drag on for hours, depending on how long it takes you to do your turn. But I felt like they got this game to where it goes at a fairly good clipping pace. So I actually enjoyed the fact that I might be able to play 2 or 3 in a game night, 2 or 3 rounds of this in a game night, and not just a single long game. Because like I said, this type of game, the arena combat does tend to take longer usually. So I actually enjoyed that it was shorter.
They designed the game so that most of your points are going to be earned via the challenges and not by killing other players. So the attacks sometimes feel like they aren't really doing much because attacking somebody doesn't have a permanent effect. They're going to come right back in on their next turn.
They have to waste a card to get out there.
And it only gives you 1 point, where you might be earning more points if you're going after challenges.
But don't forget the upgraded abilities.
Granted, you do get leveled up abilities, but those are very quickly lost if you in turn are killed. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they won't even come into effect. You really need to make sure that you're picking champions that you're going to make sure that you actually use their leveled up ability.
Yeah.
Because not all of your champions will be leveled up.
Yeah. Well, and another thing about the killing, is that you're getting a point for taking somebody out, but a lot of times you might be taking somebody out just to make sure they're not in a spot they need to be on the board to hit one of those goals. So it's much less about actually taking the other person out as it is making sure they're not hitting those goals, and sometimes that means taking them out.
So what I was trying to get at with the attacks is sometimes you feel like, what's the point in attacking because dealing damage isn't going to do anything, but most of your attack cards will also have the keyword text where you can push someone or pull them or force them to move somewhere, and getting them out of your way lets you get into the position you want to be in. There's also the ability to jump and avoid some of the obstacles, the players that are in your way or the statues in the middle of the field, which will give you increased mobility in order to fulfill those challenges.
Yeah, those side things, like the push, the pull, swoop, jump, those types of things are actually, in my opinion, more valuable than your attack strength in this game. Because just being able to shove somebody out of the way so they can't get those points, and maybe they're on a spot you have to be on to get the points the next round, that was interesting to me, because I went in with the mindset when I first started this game that I needed to kill Ryan's people off, and I very quickly lost the first game that we played because I didn't realize that he was going to get all the points and I was just going to have killed his people a few times. So that was a different mindset to kind of run through. I really did enjoy this game, and like I said, I'm super looking forward to painting these. Maybe I'll post pictures when I get them painted. I don't know. That would be fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the high quality miniatures, and I'm looking forward to trying to develop strategies where I get my champions to work together to accomplish something.
Oh, man. Yeah, that reminds me, was that the asymmetrical abilities of these champions are really fun. Just playing with some that, like, there's one guy that I played with that he has to be able to, like, run people over. He likes to, like, run through. I've forgotten what the keyword text is, but he likes to really just push through and hit people on his way. And so I have to always have him ready in a straight line to go run through a whole bunch of people. And then I had, like, somebody who's more like a sideline character who adds a lot of support for others, but the asymmetrical abilities and the fact that you have to play them differently was a really good, I thought, really well balanced part of the game, because you cannot play your same strategy that you always play if you've got different, character champions that you're using. So I thought that was really neat. I liked that.
Overall, I think Tantrum House gives Super Fantasy Brawl 2 thumbs up. Definitely check it out, and be sure to keep tuned to our channel for more reviews like this one.
Hello, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio Awesome. I'm Katie.
And I'm Ryan.
Today we're going to talk about this huge monster.